Alright everybody, what's happening? G-Funk here. Gonna do a quick video while I'm feeding my daughter. Want to talk about the news I heard. First, couple of good things I heard today and yesterday. First thing I want to talk about is the Mayweather and Maidana pay-per-view numbers. And it looks like it failed at the box office, and that's a good thing, man. That's a real good thing because fight fans did not want to see that. Too many people were asking me outside of YouTube. They were like, "Who is Marcos Maidana? Who is this guy?" And I had to tell them, he beat Adrian Broner, and they're just like, "Oh, okay, well, and then a couple of people were like, "Man, I had to look this guy up on the internet and find out who he was," and I was like, "Yeah, I know. He's he's not the most popular guy in boxing, but hey, Mayweather's fighting him." So, I heard that they did about 800,000 to 900,000 buys, and I guess in order for a pay-per-view to be a success with Mayweather's contract, it has to be somewhere around 1.2 million buys, I believe, and looks like they're not gonna get there. And like I said, that's a good thing, man, because this was a shit fight, man. I'm sorry. The matchup was just horrible. Now, of course, we all know what happened. The fight ended up being much better than I expected. But, like I said in the beginning of the video, nobody wanted to see this fight to begin with, man. And I'm glad that people stepped up and, they streamed it like I did, or, they went to a bar and watched it or whatever. I'm glad they did that. And shout out to Blood Boxing, man, because he made a video that day, put some links up to get people not to support it. And, I did the same thing outside of YouTube. I was telling people, go to these sites, stream it, because, if we want to get the fights we want to see, man, fights like this have to fail. They have to do bad numbers. And that's what it did, man, and I'm glad. There's just too many pay-per-views going on, man. I mean, we got Mayweather is going to fight twice this year on pay-per-view. We got Pacquiao's probably going to fight twice this year on pay-per-view. We got Canelo Alvarez is going to fight 3 times this year on pay-per-view. And then, we got the Martinez versus Cotto fight on pay-per-view. I mean, that's just way too many, guys. Just way too many for me. It's starting to get like the UFC, where they have a damn pay-per-view every month. And, it just, to me, that's just not special, man. And I want to talk about how I feel about these pay-per-views. They're just not special to me anymore like they used to be. It used to be where it was only the super fights that got on pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Guys, like, I'm gonna go a little ways back, okay? Now I can remember watching a ton of Mike Tyson's fights on pay-per-view. Chavez had a lot of fights on pay-per-view back in the day. But I mean, nobody was a draw like Tyson back in the 80s and the 90s. When we first got out of prison, of course they had to put the fight with McNeely on pay-per-view because it was his first fight out, and everybody wanted to see how Tyson was going to do. And of course, like I said, it was on pay-per-view. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember his next fight was with a guy named Buster Mathis, and I believe that fight was on network television. I think it was on Fox, if I'm not mistaken. So, if a guy like Tyson can do something like that, why can't one of these major stars of today do one of their main fights on network television, instead of fighting every time on pay-per-view? To me, that just rubs me the wrong way, Like when De La Hoya started to do it later in his career, every time he fought, it was on pay-per-view. It wasn't always like that for him. He had fights in between where, it wasn't on pay-per-view. Let's go a little ways back with him also. I think it was 99 when he fought, either 99 or 98 when he fought Ike Corte. And that fight was on pay-per-view. Now his next fight was against Obakar. That fight was not on pay-per-view. That fight was on Championship Boxing on HBO. Then his next fight was with Felix Trinidad. That was a mega fight. Of course, that was on pay-per-view. To me, that was the best fight and the most pumped I ever was for a fight because I was a huge Felix Trinidad fan. But you know, fights, good, having good fights in between, and then having a pay-per-view fight. To me, that's just the way it should be. And to me, it makes these pay-per-view fights a little bit more special because, you know, you have, like I said, you had a guy like Oscar who was fighting in between, and he was fighting, you know, I mean, Obakar, I mean, he was a good fighter for his time. I mean, a lot of people don't know him, but, you know, that's good competition at 147 for Oscar De La Hoya. And he fought that guy on regular HBO, and that gets people pumped up for his next fight, you know. At least it did for me, you know. And the same thing with Trinidad. I believe that Trinidad, his 2 fights before he fought Oscar, he fought Pernell Whitaker on regular HBO. And then he fought a guy named, I want to say, Hugo Pineda, I want to say. Something like that. That was on regular HBO too. And then he had his big fight on HBO pay-per-view with Oscar De La Hoya. So, I mean, to me, I think that's the way it should be, man. Stop jerking the fans around and making us pay $70 for HD every time you want to fight. I mean, it just, to me, it just takes that special feeling from the pay-per-view. I mean, it was just like, man, you couldn't wait. When you heard about a big fight that was going to be on pay-per-view, I mean, you knew that was a real deal fight. It was usually between 2 undefeated guys, 2 champions. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. To me, it's just not the same anymore, and I wish it would go back to that way, man. I really do. Just think about it. If Floyd Mayweather, like, he's the biggest draw in boxing, and let's think if he was, I mean, obviously he has his contract with Showtime, and I believe that they're owned by CBS. Let's say he has a fight, one of his fights on CBS. You know, that fight would do great numbers. I mean, the ratings would go through the roof. I mean, if close to 1 million people are willing to buy a fight with Maidana on pay-per-view, he could fight a legit name or a much better name than Maidana and put that shit on regular CBS. And, you know, I mean, I know that would kill in the ratings, you know? Or even if Pacquiao did it, you know, it would do good. I mean, look at the Areola and Stavern fight. It was on regular ESPN, and they did great numbers. I think they did over 1 million. And to be honest with you, I don't even think they promoted that thing well. I mean, I didn't see any commercials for it until the week of the fight. I mean, obviously I knew it was coming on because I'm a huge fan, but let's say, you know, someone who watches boxing every now and then, you know, they watch other sports and they see it on ESPN and they're like, oh, wow, there's a fight coming on this Saturday. You know, like, if they would have done it further out, I'm sure they probably would have done better numbers, but, you know, I think that's the way it should be, man. Every now and then, you know, throw us a bone at least. You know what I'm saying? And I think that makes pay-per-views a little bit more special to me. That's just the way I feel about it. Now, the other news I wanted to talk about was how I heard Oscar De La Hoya says that he, you know, is going to bury the hatchet with Bob Arum, and he's guaranteeing that he's going to end this Cold War. And that's great news, man. And, you know, hopefully that happens, and we can see a lot of these fights that, you know, we were only dreaming of, you know, last year and the early part of this year. You know, I mean, that's great, man. I mean, I love it. I only want to see the best fighting the best. That's just the way I am. I know some channels are out there. They're geared to just protecting certain fighters, and they want to talk about how guys aren't big draws and this and that. Nah, man, I want to just see the best fighting the best. I don't want to hear no excuses about Cold War and all this crap anymore. Let's just end it so we can see the fights we want to see, man. You know, I mean, this is just great news to me. And, you know, also I want to talk about the Manny Pacquiao situation. He just renewed his contract or got an extension with Top Rank. So people are saying that, you know, now the Mayweather fight is definitely off because he, we all know that what Floyd said about Arum, he'll never do business with him and things like that. But, I say, hey, if Oscar's willing to end this Cold War and do business with Bob Arum, why can't Floyd Mayweather do the same? I mean, I'm not trying to tell the man what to do or anything. Obviously, he's going to do what he wants to do, but I'm just saying, man, give the fight fans what they want, man. They obviously showed you that they don't want you picking shit fights like Maidana, and so let's just give the people what they want, man. Hopefully, with him doing these bad numbers, he'll decide to say, you know what, hey, let's do it, man. Let's break all records and get the Manny Pacquiao fight going. I mean, it just makes sense to me. I mean, think about it. I mean, if the fight is close, of course they're going to have to do it again, and that's even more money, Or if it ends in controversy, which it could very well, end in controversy. I mean, there could be 3 fights. I mean, shit, if the guy could fight Marquez 4 times, they could stretch out a Mayweather-Pacquiao saga, So, anyway, guys, I'm going to end it here because I got father duties right here with my daughter. So, you guys, let me know what you guys think about these topics that I brought up. And go ahead and get at me, man. I'm out.